please give him a big, big, big round of applause. Do you want to address the audience first before?
To take care of. Thank you. Watch the trailer and then please let me know.
Lots of questions coming your way, sir. Sir, if you could just come and take your seat and we'll show the trailer. Okay. Put your hands together for Mr. Kamal Hussan, also known as Vikram. The bombardment starts now. Why don't you take a seat? So before I open the floor to questions from here, I keep calling you a living legend. This is, by the way, the second time that I'm getting to meet you. Last time I met you was during Shamita when there was a huge event at the Taj Lands End. We talk of Sachin Tendulkar. He was born in 73, even retired in 2013. You have been acting since 1973 and next year is going to be your 50th year. Sir, अब 50 साल जब आप एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं, can we have a big round of applause? His first role as an adult came in 1973 with a film called Arangetram, if I'm correct. So when you sign a film now, what do you look at? What are your motivations? Is it just the love for films that you think ये कहानी अच्छी है मैं करता हूँ?
Somebody asked me, when you work, when you sign, I signed because it's a legality. Otherwise, they asked me, when you go to work, I said it's nearly 35 years since I worked. I'm on a holiday and they pay me for it. I love my work, I love cinema as much as you do. I'm a film fan and I'm fortunate to be behind and in front of the camera. In front of the projectors like you, and sometimes behind the projector watching my production rolling out to you. So when he asked me when I signed it with the same love I signed an autograph. I live up to the promise whether or not I've signed on that paper. Otherwise, I never get into a project. It's not about signing. My commitment is when I agree, when I love the project. Paper, I'm a lawyer's son, so I do understand the importance of the papers. But otherwise, the papers don't matter. My paper is my tongue and my pen is my mind.
और हमें पता है कि क्या हुआ. सर, इस फिल्म के साथ लोकेश कानगराज जिन्होंने कैदी जैसी फिल्म बनाई है, मास्टर जैसी फिल्म बनाई है, अब वो आ रहे हैं कमल सर के साथ विक्रम लेके. इस बार क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है?
थैंक यू. मुझे पहली बात तो खुशी है कि हमारे सीनियर कमल हसन जी की फिल्म हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि मेरा करियर स्टार्ट हुआ होगा वीडियो से. तो इनकी वीडियो मैंने सदमा एक दूसरे के लिए इतनी बेची है क्योंकि उस ज़माने में पायरेसी बिका करती थी, क्योंकि इन्होंने बहुत अच्छी फिल्में बनाई थी. तो मुझे खुशी है कि मेरी कंपनी पैन मरूजा कमल हसन जी की पिक्चर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कर रही है और ये बहुत अच्छी फिल्म है, बहुत अच्छी लग रही है और इंडिया इसको बहुत प्राउड करेगी.
राइट. रजत सर, सोनी म्यूजिक हैज बीन एट द फोरफ्रंट. अब हिंदी फिल्मों की बात करें या तमिल फिल्मों की बात करें, लेकिन सर ये जो कॉम्बो है लोकेश कनगराज, अनिरुद्ध और सोनी म्यूजिक, मास्टर का म्यूजिक भी इन्होंने दिया था. तो जब ये दोनों साथ आते हैं, इज इट जस्ट अ गिवन कि यार इनके साथ तो काम करना ही है?
Thank you for the introduction first, and I would like to believe, yes, I think we are working with superstars in this film and the magic should happen. And I must say that it's been a pleasure when I met Sir the other day when we were to sign the movie and all. The vision that he had for the project is really in itself something that tells you that the project is going to come out really nicely. And of course then you have all the people backing it. And it promises to be a big hit. It's already a big hit on the music. It's all over. You can see it on the charts, and it will get even bigger. So yes, delighted to be associated with the project. Thank you.
Right. और ये is रकीब आलम कमल सर ने बोला कि अगर वो कुछ ऐसा लिखते हैं जो शायद आपको पसंद ना आए तो कहते हैं कि इन्होंने लिखा है, अगर कुछ अच्छा लिखते हैं तो उनको लगता है कि कमल सर ने लिखा है. दिस मैन हैज बीन द रीजन व्हाई ऑल ऑफ अस आर लुकिंग एट दीस सॉन्ग्स श्रीवल्ली एंड सेइंग दैट ये हमारे देश से निकल के आए. रकीब भाई एक बात बताएं, जब एक फिल्म होती है जिस ओरिजिनल भाषा में वो लिखी जाती है और उसको आप हिंदी में तब्दील करते हैं, हिंदी में बदलते हैं, उस एसेंस को कैसे पकड़ के रखते हैं?
उसके लिए सबसे पहली बात है कि पहली जो लाइन होती है फिल्म मतलब गाने की, तो उसको मैं पकड़ता हूँ और मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि उसका जो मीनिंग है उसको मैं किस तरफ से लेके आऊँ. तो कोशिश आप जैसे सर का था बदल पतल पतल पतल, अब मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं एक लिप है और कई बार रिपीट होता है, तो मैं सोचते सोचते करीब करीब 2 दिन लगे मुझे, तो मुझे लगा कि अब इसके हिसाब से फिर लिखा जाए, तो मैंने बदले बदले लिखा.
रकीब भाई और मेरे बीच में एक और सिमिलरिटी है. सर, I'm actually a Tamilian.
No, he's making it sound very easy.
It's not easy.
Very simple. That's because he's a simple man himself. But it's very, very difficult to write poetry itself is difficult. To ride a motorcycle, do a crossword puzzle, and negotiate traffic. That's how difficult it is to write for a dubbing film, because he's not free to let his horse go. He has to hold the lagan to the lip, to the meaning and to the beat, and still sound sensible. There have been songs, not to name any, because my own films I will take, where the original song would have been fantastic meaning-wise. It sounds silly when it comes to Hindi.
Sir, there is one song everybody loves it.
Let's not name it, because there's another writer involved. We are all brothers. But it sounds very silly. We have to be very careful. It's some of the greatest poets have said this to me. Gulzar Saab has said this to me. It's very difficult writing from one language to another. That itself is difficult. Now you're doing it for already shot film with lip movement going like that. That's why in certain advertisements you see a doctor recommending something, but his lips are moving differently. You think he's lying. That's the first thing that advertisers should understand, that dubbing should be done very carefully and it should be colloquial. The syntax in a South Indian language and Hindi are opposite. Ulta seedha ho jata hai. So you'll have to understand that also and bring about meaning. It's very difficult job. Even the dubbing writer's job is very difficult. If you see this film, I'm not comparing, but then in America it's allowed. You can compare with the competitor. But here we don't. It's out of decency. But if you see this film, you will realize, you will forget that it is a dubbed movie. The meaning will come to you. And you won't have the tension of looking down at the subtitles. For us, what's most important is not to wake you up while you're watching the film.
Raki bhai,
Always open to making a double version. But my CEO and my co-producer, they are nervous because that will shoot up the cost like anything. The actors are not the worst part. It's a number of, even if you take one shot, which you will double up and use it for another film, you still have to pay everybody twice. And they are concerned about that. But if somebody like me, for example, I made Hey Ram as 2 different versions. That's why you will not find any linguistic discrepancies. Because Manoj Joshi Saab wrote the Hindi dialogues, and is a great Hindi writer. And you can see the value of his writing fully without any filters. And I wrote the Tamil film. Likewise, I wrote for Vishwarupam in Tamil, and Vishwaroop was written by Atul Tiwari Saab. So it has its value. You're losing out on something while we gain one payment. We reduce one payment, but I think soon. Jayantilal Bhai and others will sit together and say, why not make a double version? And actors will have to consider this and not ask for two payments, but become partners in the film. That's the only way you can reach out. Like, there is still more potential in South for Hindi cinemas to grow. The reason it's not growing is they're not coming closer. The linguistic barrier is stopping them. In spite of it, they watch Hindi films. All this political janjat with bhasha, it'll keep happening. But artists and sportsmen are the people who keep breaking it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tendulkar is equally a hero for a Tamilian living in a native place where I come from, Paramakudi. They can't even pronounce a Hindi word. To tell you the truth, Tendulkar is the one Marathi word they've learned. So it is like that. And these people are great uniting factors.
Hello. Relevant. We've seen you, we've grown up on your movies. You're working with Vijay Sethupathi in this film and Fahad, both are amazing actors. But over the years, there are a lot of changes in the industries across India, how people function. So when you today are working in films as an actor, what are the challenges you feel? Because a lot of people are very reluctant to adapt, but you are not like that. You've been rediscovering yourself over the years. But how do you, what's the secret of staying relevant after all these years? And what drives you today?
I think all my knowledge is extramural. I never went to any university. So when I speak English, it's what I learned out of school. So I'm always nervous. I go back and check. In those days, you didn't have Wikipedia or Google to check. So you have to really be right. Or somebody will do this. An educated man there would say, he's not, he speaks English, but he's not educated. He'll spot me right on. So that happens with good actors who see amateurs performing in front of them. So I learn from them. I'm still learning, and that's why it's a holiday for me. I have no degrees. I never threw my hat off and said, I'm a graduate now. I never had a hat. So that's why I keep changing them. I'm not too sure which one will fit me. But that is, the first most important thing, if you want to know what is the magic word, it is because I'm a film buff. If I'm not in here, I'll be here, in here, watching films. Thanks to OTT, and he shouldn't get upset about it. But he has also come from that digital into this form. And I enjoy my life better because I go back to my old films, watch them, not mine, the films that I enjoyed most. Like people, we don't realize the kind of values that we have within our own. We make fun of our films and say, "Dekho, West mein kya banate hain?" He also makes silly films continuously. What we remember are the greats, because people like Jayantilal Bhai never brought all the films made in Hollywood here. They only brought the cream, so we don't know what's the grass film they're making. Whereas all that we do, we keep watching and comparing it with the best in the world. Compare our best with their best. And then you will see Mughal Azam is no way lesser than a David Lean film. And you'll realize that the core seed for a film like First Blood came from a film called Achanak. Watch it. And then you'll know, I'm that kind of a film buff. So I'm grateful, and I'll keep watching films, and I hope you will also watch. When I was recommending that OTT should come, people in exhibition were very worried. I didn't know how to convince them because they were worried when satellite television came. And I told them that it will become another branch of this head office bank called Moving Images. Don't worry about that. But I couldn't convince them then. I came, and then they realized now the only way I could say, I'm not a great believer, but I do believe in change. So I told him in a language that he would understand. So what is that in your neck? He said, that's Balaji. Okay, I'll tell you your example. Just because you have a calendar with Balaji's picture, Tirupati will never lose its value. Same goes for Mecca, Ajmer, and the Vatican. Just because you've seen the picture, everybody wants to go there. One day they'll make it there. So this crowd here will never go away because this is a congregation that I enjoy. I could be reading it on my telephone. All that we are talking now could come through to me through my telephone, but I enjoy this company. I like watching your face. I like hearing that voice. We are all like that. Cinema, congregation in a theater will not go away.
हो या तमिल फिल्म सिनेमा की बात हो, आप ग्रेटेस्ट एक्टर्स के साथ काम करते रहे, आप खुद भी एक लेजेंड है। मैं जानना चाहूंगा फहद फासिल जो अब मलयालम सिनेमा के नए सेंसेशन है, विजय सेतुपति जो तमिल में बहुत बड़े स्टार, उनके साथ काम करना कैसा एक एक्सपीरियंस था आपके साथ? कैसे आपने उन्हें राजी किया साथ में काम करने के लिए? और क्या आपके मन में ये इच्छा भी कही थी कि आप खुद इस फिल्म को डायरेक्ट करें, क्योंकि आप एक बहुत अच्छे डायरेक्टर भी हैं?
नहीं, हर अच्छे फिल्म को when I see them, I like to direct them, but somebody better than me has done it already. So I let it go and say, खुद बनाएंगे एक अच्छे कहानी लिखकर मैं खुद बनाऊंगा. But about acting with actors, there's one actor I missed who I really wanted to. I literally held his hand and begged him, but he had decided not to act. Dilip Kumar Saab. I wanted to make that film Tevar Magan with him and me. It didn't matter, but it didn't happen, so I gave it to another friend who made it with Anil Kapoor Saab and Amrish Puri Saab. So that working with great actors, the experience is exactly the same. Greatness is similar around the world. Thank you.
Sir, I have one more question, a small question. सर आपने 80 से लेकर कई दशकों तक हिंदी सिनेमा में काम किया, कई एक दूजे के लिए की बात हो, सागर, सदमा, गिरफ्तार की बात हो, कई फिल्मों में काम किया, लेकिन क्या आपको लगता है कि आज की तारीख में जब हम देखते हैं कि RRR, पुष्पा, KGF ये फिल्में बहुत चल रही हैं और हिंदी बेल्ट में साउथ की फिल्मों को बहुत एक्सेप्ट किया जा रहा है, आपको क्या लगता है कि ये जो एक्सेप्टेंस अब जाकर मिल रही है साउथ के बड़े-बड़े एक्टर्स को, what has changed exactly now?
No, कुछ नहीं change हुआ. We have forgotten. Our memory. Surely, some of the Tamil filmmakers said we must never allow these films to come here. हम बना नहीं पाएंगे ऐसा picture. So why should we allow them to come? Instead of saying that we should make a film like that, they got scared of films like that. Like Sholay, many other films. Like we wanted, I wanted to become a director, not an actor. When I saw Achanak, I keep referring to that film. What great films! And I didn't speak the language then, but cinema spoke to me. It doesn't matter whether it is Mughal-e-Azam, Achanak, or even Padosan. It touches my heart. That's why the films I make. At one time is Virasat, another time it's a Chachi Charsobis. That's because I'm influenced by that kind of cinemas. Nothing has changed, sir, except the audience with newer experience and forgetting the older memories. It's improving, and I'm closer to the audience now than my predecessors.
Any Hindi film in the pipeline?
I'd like to call all films that I make. Rajni Saab, my competition with, if you think you can become an actor, I see a competition sitting there and in the garb of a journalist and asking me, you are my competition, he is my competition, any talented actor is my competition.
Okay, final question, yes sir.
G?
Full on action film. Sir, how did you match the energies with Fahad and Vijay?
Yeah, Kamal sir, this was a full-on action film. How did you match your energies? And in spite of this being a full-to action film, I was attracted towards that emotional scene from where your tear falls. So obviously it has all the emotions as well.
Yes, it has emotions. It has a bit of romance. Not fed in because that's it's not in a formulaic manner, but it is there. And about the energy, you just applaud once and I'll get the energy for the next film. So that is my energy. I get my energy from the applause or the anticipation that they might applaud gives me that energy.
एग्जैक्टली बता देंगे आपको 1500 की रिलीज है 1500 हिंदी में
Okay. एक आखिरी सवाल सर आप पूछ लीजिए. My last question done, ma'am. Ma'am, there's
While we are on the topic of screens के बारे में बोल रहे थे. So I think it is right now I come from Kerala. Kerala, they said we will do 4,000. I said 4,000. Are you sure? Now, before I left yesterday, they said we'll cross 5,000 screens in Kerala, a small state called Kerala, and Tamil Nadu will cross 900 prints. Totally, 5,000 plus is what we are looking around the world. Thank you.
रकीब जी, पुष्पा के बाद आपकी स्टेज पर देख रहे हैं, बहुत खुशी भी हो रही है. आप अपनी जर्नी को कैसे देखते हैं? क्योंकि आमतौर पर जो शुरुआती आप बहुत समय से लिख रहे हैं, 30 साल की जर्नी है, आज स्टेज पर सम्मान मिलता है, आप बैठे हैं, थोड़ा सा बदला कितना है, काम और कितना आ रहा है, ये जानना चाहता हूँ.
मैं एक बात तो जब मैं सर के साथ रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहा था तब मैं सर को बोलना चाह रहा था कि जब एक दूजे के लिए रिलीज हुई थी सर, तब मैं उस वक्त 9th क्लास में था और मुझे घर से 50 पैसे मिलते थे तो पॉकेट खर्च के लिए, तो मैं 4 दिन इसको जमा करता था फिर एक दूजे के लिए नहीं जाता था. तो मैंने 18 बार देखे थे और मुझे तब ये उम्मीद नहीं थी कि एक वक्त आएगा कि मैं सर के साथ काम करूँगा, उनके लिए लिखूँगा और उनके साथ बैठूँगा. तो मैं सर को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कहना चाहूँगा सर को कि आपने इतना बड़ा मौका दिया और अनी को भी अनिरुद्ध उनको भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा. और पुष्पा के बाद थोड़ा बहुत लोग मुझे जानने लगे, पहचानने लगे और मेरे गानों की वजह से, और आप लोगों का प्यार इसी तरह मिलता रहे और बस यही उम्मीद करते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच.
One little side story. Devi Shri Prasad is a good friend of mine. He is very fond of me. So when we were making Patla Patla, he asked me, who's writing your song? So I didn't know. I asked and they said his name. Then it's fine. He wrote Srivalli. Congratulations. He said before even I recorded the song. So that's what it does. That is stardom and he's enjoying it now. Kudos to my friend.
right, gentlemen.